Hello, my name is Tom Lesher. I'm here with the weekly Pele report from the big island of Hawaii. It is a tropical island and it's raining outside, and I know that a lot of you like these reports because you get to watch waves crashing in the background. However, today I'm inside because it is a rainy day in the tropics, and so I thought I'd get this mad scientist background with the flames of Aries shooting out of my head. Anyway, okay, so to get down to business, this is the week of April 2nd, and we have just had a new moon very early this morning, Sunday, April 2nd, and it's in the sign of Aries, and this is actually setting a tone for the whole year. I mean, it's wonderful that I can actually do this report in sync with the lunar phases, because we're going to be talking about this first phase, the new moon, and then it moves into the crescent phase, and by week's end, actually by next Monday, we come into the first quarter moon, and I'm going to walk the moon through the signs here: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer this week. It's great. But before I get to that, let's look at just some of the other astrological aspects that are happening this week, and then explain what the heck they mean, right? So, as a backdrop, we've got on Monday, Neptune moves into the sign of Pisces for the first time in 165 years. This is a very large backdrop. And Pluto is still in the sign of Capricorn. It actually is stationary and goes retrograde on Saturday. So we have these big outer planets making some shifts and some changes. And we'll talk more about those. I've talked about, and there's on my website an article about Uranus going into the sign of Aries. It just got there. And I believe, yeah, today, Mars is conjunct Uranus. And Saturn, the Sun is in opposition to Saturn in the sign of Libra. If you've listened to my other reports, you know there's all kinds of stuff going on in Aries. And all of that stuff in Aries is opposing Saturn. And so now we've got Venus and Neptune and Chiron all in the sign of Pisces, with all this other stuff in Aries, and that's the backdrop. So what does this all mean? Well, this week is very, very, very powerful week. So it is a new beginning, and this month is a very powerful month because, and as I've spoke about this, Uranus going into Aries is the process of individuation, and this process of individuation is also then a process of separation, and we can go all the way back to infancy, to the birth. And each one of us was born, and each one of us had the trauma of having the umbilical cord cut and being separated from the warmth, the safety, the nourishment of the womb. And life is continually a process of separating and separating and separating and individuating and individuating and individuating, and growing from the baby, from the needy child, into the adult. And it is a never-ending process that none of us will ever achieve. So take it easy. Take it easy on yourself. And also take it easy on the other, because we can search and we can mistake love for this desire to go home, to return, to experience the unity and the oneness through our relationships. And yet this process of individuation that Uranus calls for, and Aries calls for, and all these 5, 6 planets in Aries at this time, they're all calling for separation, for individuation, and that process involves pain. That process involves waking up to the illusion. You know, when the baby is born, it doesn't know how to separate itself from the psychic field of its parents. and we own and we take on all kinds of other people's. It's a confusing process. And what we do then is as we move into our adulthood phases and through, adolescence or whatever, we can project our unconscious needs for this sense of security and safety and unity onto other people. And we can expect partnership, other people, our lovers, to provide for us, to give for us, to hold us, to share with us, and to give us that sense of connection. And yet we are now being reminded that it is really up to us. It's up to ourselves to individuate and to withdraw our projections. And it's only through withdrawing these projections that we can see ourselves as we truly are and individuate and become adults, and that we can truly love the other as they essentially and truly are. And of course then, this week and this time, as Mars comes into its positions through Aries, and I gotta say, the conjunction with Uranus is very powerful. And then we've also got that Sun opposite Saturn through this whole time. Oh, I forgot to say Mercury is retrograde. I'll get to that too. But what I wanted to get to here is just that this is a week that we can really get pissed off. It's when other people don't meet our expectations or other people come at us with their demands. It is anger. This is a time of getting angry. And that anger, we have to understand, is somewhat of the surface of the issue. Because underneath our anger is our pain. The pain of separation. And that's what gets us angry. That pain of our projections not being met, not being realized. Our needs, the other person not coming through, the world, the economy, the planet not coming through to meet our needs, forcing us into a deeper and greater awareness of our own power and our own magnificence in the long run, but in the short run, it's painful. And underneath that pain, what is the pain? Underneath that pain, and Aries and Mars carries with it fear. I've talked about that before. So we have this fearful time. There are 4 primary fears. Primal, and Aries is primal. The fear of getting too close, getting absorbed by the other, versus the fear of being too distant and being too removed and disconnected from everything and everyone. The third primal fear has to do with the fear of change. Just the unknown. And of course, its opposite is the fear of permanence, that this will never change. We have these 4 primal fears, and looking at these fears, owning these fears, as opposed to others different ways of managing these fears. So there's 4 different ways of managing fears. One is to submit to the circumstances, submit to the demands, submit to the other, and just lose yourself and lose your power. The second is to respond with power, with control. I will manage, I will take over, I will dominate the situation. So we have wars as a result of number 2. Yes, indeed. And number 3 is flight. I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm not dealing with this. I'm not looking at my pain. I'm not looking at anything. I'm just gone. Lastly, the 4th is love. And love is a very ill-defined word these days. I understand. There's a lot of illusions about it. But we will say that love is loving the other as they essentially are and withdrawing our projections. What is it that we want the other person to do for us? when we essentially as adults need to do it for ourselves. As we withdraw our projections and do for ourselves what we need or expect or want the other person to do for us, then we let that other person be in freedom, and we let that other person be who they are, and we love them unconditionally. Obviously, this is a process. And I would say then that, it's just really it's a gradual withdrawing of these projections, of owning our own power this week. Mercury retrograde has to do with reflection. The Sun is conjunct Mercury this week. This is the closest time. This is like when we can really go deeply within ourselves and rebel against old, outworn ideas. It's a time to look inward. And so, yes, indeed, we have, computers messing up, cars messing up, communication messing up, business and commerce messing up, and it's really the universe supporting our internal process, where we need to be looking within instead of looking outside and looking and fulfilling all of our needs with our addictions and things to external sources of support. So we have all of this going on, and the moon moving through Aries. Let's look at it then as a weekly thing. Moon moving through Aries here. This new moon is this wake up, and it can be a shock, and we can respond with anger and rebel and go, no, I don't like this, or you can respond with what, either the submissiveness or the, excuse me, or the desire to control and all of the power and all of that kind of thing, or we can withdraw these projections. And I would say that one indicator, I just got this lately, was the best way that you can love another person is to support them in their solitude. Moon moves into Taurus. Yes. Moon moves into Taurus when? Yeah, Monday. Tomorrow. Maybe when you're reading this. The moon is in Taurus. And then on Wednesday, as the sun comes up to conjunct with Jupiter, the moon is void of course all day Wednesday in Taurus. Taurus is self-sufficiency. Taurus is self-reliance. And it is very, it's very much alone. I would say if you're going to spend some time, some downtime, some inward time for reflecting, it's going to be on Wednesday. Void of course, moon in Taurus. Go in, go down, go deep, ground all of this, all of this anger, all of this energy, all of these new ideas and things like that you're feeling now. Just really on Wednesday, go inward. Then the moon goes into Gemini on Thursday. Thursday and Friday, Gemini is, gather more information, learn what's going on, talk, communicate with people. It's the active time that you can use to then come out with your newfound capacities, your newfound sense of self-worth, your new, all these new ideas, and share them, and also investigate. It's a very investigative time to get deeper down into the roots of your issues, so that this weekend all of your issues don't blow up in your face when the moon goes into Cancer, because the moon is going to go into Cancer. It's going to oppose Pluto, and then it's going to square Saturn and square all of this Aries energy, and we're going to have this grand cross going on with the moon next weekend. So Saturday and Sunday look pretty intense. Yes, most definitely. And Pluto is stationary. The moon comes up to oppose it. And what is this about then? Yeah, all of this newfound stuff in Aries, and then you ground it in Taurus, and you learn more, through Gemini. And then on this weekend, it is really, contacting the inner needs, emotional needs. Feeling. It can be a time when you really want to be with somebody, and you really want to connect, and it can bring up all of the separating issues and all of the projections, but you can use that as an opportunity to move through your stuff. And so that, the weekend holds promise that, as unblocked as you can, and as humbling and as vulnerable as you can allow yourself to be and to feel, well, then, there is the potential of a very deep communion with a higher person. So, it's enough for now. That's about, what this week looks like a little bit from this perspective. And I wish you the very best, and namaste.